This is it. This is what we've all been waiting for, or at least on this channel, what we've been waiting for ever since the beginning of that June rejection with Bitcoin just above 70,000 bucks, now coming down at the very low 60s. What does that mean? What are the good memes going on right here as well? And the statistics kind of surrounding that is the focus of today's video, of course. And before we get into this one, I do want to let you know that there is a midsummer sale going on for all of the products and services in our Teachable store, which you can find a link to in the description below. HPDR, HPass, all of the good statistical indicators, plus the Krown quant automation service, which allows you to not just automate your trades, but also gives you some strategy blueprints that you can use or iterate off of. You can actually try for free with that same code for the first month. The reason why I'm doing that is because I really strongly believe that anyone who actually uses this and is actively trading is probably gonna have the same sort of enlightening thought as myself when I started using it, which was like, what the hell was I doing before this? This is so much better as you can become more of like a trade strategist rather than, you know, a discerning trader on, I guess, you know, watching the charts all day. Different sort of styles, but let's jump into this one right here, right now, starting off with the big meme of this day. So again, one of the big focuses on this channel was the early June rejection where Bitcoin got rejected just above 70,000 bucks. And we said, hey, look, that was Bitcoin's chance. Now it's time to be looking for some sideways and downside price action, at least down to 64,000 bucks and perhaps all the way down to 61 or 62,000 bucks. As of right now, Bitcoin is trading at 62,250 or so. And we can see that the good old meme, everyone's favorite meme, or at least one of the ancient memes in this market, is once again staring us right in our face, which is that yellow moving average. It is a 21 exponential moving average. And the reason why I'm highlighting it here is because if we go ahead and look at the full history of Bitcoin, we can see very clearly and obviously that anytime that Bitcoin's been above it and it also has a simultaneous positive slope, any sort of test down to the 21 exponential moving average has been, generally speaking, a pretty damn good long-term buy area. We can see several examples over here in 2017. We can see some examples over here in the more recent cycle in 2020 and 2021. And we can certainly see several more in past cycles in 2011 and 2013 and 2014 here too. Works to the downside as well. Typically, we do find that Bitcoin likes putting its lower high somewhere around that region. And as of right now, it is currently coming in at an exact price of 61,394.65 on the Bitcoin index here. So very, 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 very close to it as of this moment, which does mean that if Bitcoin is going to be bullish, we do expect a bounce around this region. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to come down exactly to it, but at this point, you know, what's another $1,000 on top of the current move to the downside? But anywhere around there, as we're going to go over, is, if Bitcoin is going to be bullish, a high probability for the next sort of higher low. This also does imply that on the other side, and you're going to hear me now start to harp on this a little bit, just because, you know, I do want to make sure that, well, we can have adequate preparation, but any sort of closure below there, any sort of closure on a higher term time frame, even below like 60,000 bucks at this point, is going to be really indicative that this is not going to work out. And not only is it not going to work out, you're probably going to see some very, very significant downside, that leads to a little bit of this action as well. And then it's this. It's game over, man. Game over, baby. And if you know what movie that's from, then well, you probably watched the same shit that I did when I was growing up. Anyways, yes, so we have that. I did also want to do a quick study on prior tests down to that 21 EMA and found that there were 32 major ones in Bitcoin's history. Of those 32, 25 of those were successful, meaning that Bitcoin did put in a higher low and continued on with the overall trend. And 7 of those were failures. So, you know, it does have a high probability to provide that next impetus for a higher low, but it is not a guarantee, obviously. And of course, all bull markets, you know, end with that happening. So, you know, I do think that it deserves some recognition here. But as long as Bitcoin is above it, I'm going to treat it as this is more than likely the next higher low. Again, we've seen this happen several times, even in the past year and a half here, going back to March of 2023, 1, 2, 3-ish. You could even call this one the 4th right here as well. Test down to that region. And again, long-term, that was a great buy area. What's the 5th test? Maybe it fails, maybe it doesn't, but but until it fails, I'm going to treat it as legitimate. If Bitcoin does start to break below it, I'm going to also treat that as a major reversal like a major reversal, at least price action down to low 50s, probably more like low 40s, if that were to happen. So I do want to start to prepare myself, if that invalidation does occur. As always, need some sort of criteria to, to define that somewhere where that you're wrong. Anyways, moving on from there, I do want to get into, well, actually one last thing with moving averages. This red moving average right here is a 5 exponential on the monthly time frame. Again, similar to the 21 EMA, although I do think that it's actually a little bit better long term. Anytime that Bitcoin's above it, generally good. When Bitcoin's below it, generally bad. And you can see that is coming in a little bit lower than the 21 EMA on the weekly. It's actually currently at 60,800. And again, the end of this month is literally less than a week away as well. So do be aware of that. By the way, I should have said that the sale only goes for the next week, midsummer, 4th of July, all that good stuff. But yeah, maybe a little bit discombobulated in this particular video, but yeah, wicks down to the 21 EMA or the 5 exponential on the monthly here are completely fine, but we do want to see the beginnings of a bounce from that. Now that we've gone through that, let's go down to the daily here, and we can see that the daily RSI is in a very interesting place, actually. Let me go here to CME. CME also has it as well, and that's always a better signal than spot price action. But we do see that the daily RSI is now actually lower. It's actually lower than the May lows. So again, if we're going to see the next sort of higher low in this trend, this is the setup. This would be the setup. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed to work out, but this is what we've been waiting for. During this whole move to the downside for the past few weeks here, we've been patient, saying that, hey, this is not the time for reversal just yet. Downside is still more likely. Now it's start to say timing wise and probably price wise as well. If you are bullish, we would be expecting really a high probability of a low here. So there technically would be hidden bullish evidence here. Even the daily RSI getting down in this region throughout general bull markets has been, around a bottoming area as well. We don't really expect it to kind of hang around the bearish controls. And right now it's testing pretty much the top side of it. So again, it's kind of, at least in my opinion, a bit of a do or die scenario right here. So like I said, if things do fail, you're gonna see me switch around to being very bearish, like very bearish. But for right now, this is what we've been waiting for. So I want to, at least on my own end, I want to be sticking with my guns. Is that the right term? What does that even mean? Anyways, now that we've gone through that, I do want to get to the next chart right here. Again, not only is this a 21 EMA on the weekly and very close to the 5 exponential on the monthly, but it's also the 618 fib retracement here as well, the golden pocket, as many people know it. Again, we've had this area circled out for a while now. Anywhere within this region would be acceptable as a higher low. We also do see that daily stochastic momentum is way down here in the critical zone, which is not a bullish signal in and of itself. But obviously the daily needs to precede the 2-day, the 3-day, the 5-day, and the weekly. And right now the daily will actually turn back up in terms of momentum if Bitcoin can close today back above 63,800, which actually is like kind of far away from current price action, to be fair. Don't think that's happening today. But of course, the longer that it stays here and with how low it is, it's going to be difficult to keep up that momentum. So if Bitcoin really fails to break down and continue in the short term, I'd say today, tomorrow, maybe Wednesday at most, you're going to see that start to flip around, and Bitcoin's at least going to get a bit of a relief bounce. 2-day time frame, a little bit more concerning as Bitcoin still shows downside momentum as long as it's below 71,200. 5-day time frame also very concerning here as well, 68,500, and the weekly same shit here too. So actually that pivot moving up on the weekly at 69,600. So what I would say again is that if you do see Bitcoin below 60, especially on like a daily closing basis, these are the setups that we typically do see that have significant carryover, where the 2-day and the 5-day line up in terms of stochastic momentum and low volatility, which is the setup right now. So this would be a downside setup. And again, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see Bitcoin into the $40,000 territory if that does play out. But again, as long as Bitcoin's above, like let's just call it $60,000. Okay, fair enough. But just be aware when things do cross below there, it's going to get probably very ugly. But until then, just This is what we've been waiting for. All right. Okay. So we've got that. Anything else that I want to get to over here? Yeah. Daily price statistics. Of course, we do know that Monday, since this year began, has been the most likely day to close positively. I highly doubt that's going to happen today, but I do believe that the average negative returns for today at one spot 80%, is probably going to be a little bit enlightening in terms of like where things are likely to close today. As of right now, we have about 1.5% to the downside from today's open. 170 would put Bitcoin a little bit closer to 62,000 bucks even. It's not a whole hell of a lot difference here, but what I would say is that any sort of move below $62,000 today, probably scalpable, as Bitcoin likely does close the day somewhere just above 62,000 bucks. Again, regardless of whether it's going to break down or actually put in a low here. But for right now, I think it's really time to be paying attention. This is like the point of maximum financial returns for both sides of the market, which you really only see like a couple times a year or a few times a year. Anyways, going onwards from there, and probably the last thing of today, one thing also that does certainly align more on the bearish side here. I will just shoot you straight on this one. It is certainly more on the bearish side alongside stochastic momentum as it currently stands, is the weekly HPDR. We can see that the weekly median is actually above price action right now. It's 62,300. Technically, Bitcoin's trading a little bit below that, not by a whole hell of a lot, but this is not strong right here. That's what I'm trying to say. If Bitcoin does break down, we're probably in for an early July move, somewhere down to like 55, 56, probably try for a bounce there, but continuation, to the downside is very likely to be had after that. Going over here to the 5-day time frame, do we have anything different? I mean, Bitcoin's still kind of above the median, 61,750. So again, we see multiple things, many things coming in around, just below 62,000 bucks. So personally speaking, if I'm just letting you know what I'm doing, I'm going to treat it first and foremost as if it's the thing that I've been waiting for, which is how I've been treating most of these lows since this market, since this bull market phase started in 2023. Doesn't mean it's going to be right. And, up until now, it's been right just about every time. Now I'm going to play the game again. At some point, it will lose. It is inevitable. But I'd give it a chance to play out. Just that's what I'm personally doing. If it ends up being a loss, it ends up being a loss. That's what it is. But this is what I've been waiting for, so I'll stick to my guns. Yeah, on that one. Looking at the daily right here, 61.8 levels coming in right around 61,800 as well. So again, I do think that Bitcoin's probably set up for a bounce. Early-ish this week, I suspect. And the real question is, does that bounce turn into reversal? As of right now, as long as Bitcoin's below basically Thursday's high, can't really be talking about any sort of confirmed reversal, but that would be the sort of changing point for me as of right now. So I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. I do want to once again let you know that the crypto school signups are still going. They're still going for the next 3 days, 7 hours and 39 minutes and 2 seconds. It's a great beginner's course if you're looking to learn my sort of philosophy on price action that basically creates these setups that are mostly in the Krown quant automation over here. It basically will give you a trading sort of template that you can fill out and create your own strategies from. So that's available to you for the next 3 days and 7 odd hours or so. Again, it is free, but it does require an exchange account. And if you have any sort of questions or anything about it, ask in the Crypto School Discord, not to like me or else. We actually have nothing to do with the back end. But yeah, it's there and available for you. And again, 3 days. And after that, it's over. It's over for forever. Like I said, we don't know, if we're going to continue this or not. So yeah. Okay. Oh, and also there'll be a live stream on Thursday regarding this for the people who are in this. So yeah. All right. That's it for today. Again, in my opinion, kind of a fun day because, we have been waiting for this for a long time. And I expect that we're going to get clarity as to whether this is going to work or not, probably this week. So we'll end things right there. As always, I want to wish everyone the best of the best. Again, sale goes on for the next week. And on that note, I'll be closing out. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.